minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
We are live and in color, and I can guarantee you we're going to have a lot of fun. Kevin the Medium is fired up and ready to go from the Hughes Sports Podcast, and he doesn't even know it yet. But he's going to play a big factor in today's show. And the guest in hour 2 is Mark Stephen, the Hall of Fame voice of the Calgary Stampeders. Mark Stephen from QR Calgary. I've got my show. I got to get my shirt out so you can see my Vegas Golden Knights logo because they're in the news. A little bit of set design here. Hey, Kev, you're on. Welcome, Mr. Vancouver, Mr. Calgary, Mr. Kevin the Medium. What are we going by today, Kev?
Just Kevin.
Okay, just Kevin the Medium. Okay, as he puts himself in the middle of the set, in the middle of the square, let's get going with a quick 6 show topics because I'm telling you, we got a hell of a lot to get to here today, and let's do it. By the way, the quick 6 show topics brought to you by Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel, and we'll tell you more about them as we roll along. We got breaking news, Kev, today. NHL trade activity heating up with the deadline 1 day away. Vegas Golden Knights general manager Kelly McCrimmon announcing this morning. Did you see this, Kev?
No.
The team has acquired forward Nick Dowd from the Washington Capitals in exchange for goaltender Jesper Vikman, a third-round pick in the 2027 NHL draft, and a second-round pick in the 2029 NHL entry draft. This on the heels of those trades from yesterday. The Oilers dealing Andrew Mangiapane in a conditional first-round pick to the Blackhawks for Jason Dickinson and Colton Dock. The Flames sending Mackenzie Weegar to the Utah Mammoth for a package that includes 3 second-round picks. Tyler Myers, this is where you're coming in, Kev. He's going from the Vancouver Canucks to Dallas. This is all happening in the West. But because you're the guest, you're the resident Canucks fan, I feel like you've had a love-hate relationship with Tyler Myers for a long time. How did we feel about this guy going to the Dallas Stars yesterday?
You know what? It's funny because I have had a love-hate with Chaos Giraffe, and that's what we affectionately call him in Vancouver is Chaos Giraffe.
I know.
But over 480 games he played, and I'm happy for him, to be honest. He's heading home. He's a Dallas boy, born in Dallas. He'll be the first player ever Dallas-born player ever to play for Dallas, which is kind of a cool little feather in his cap. And you know what? He has a chance to win a cup, and good on him because he could play another 5-10 years for Vancouver, and that ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Well, hey, when the Western Dodge text line is open right now, 902-518-3033. So as I flipped it open, and this first segment goes fast, but we have plenty of time here. Chris in Claresholm, Alberta writes in, and I want to keep this positive. I mean, the Vancouver Canucks lost again last night, and trust me, we're going to get to this last night's scores in the Quick Six. But Chris in Claresholm, Alberta writes in, he says, Vancouver Canucks are playing terrible. I get so upset at how poorly the coaches keep playing the same few players. Their choice of who earns overtime ice is terrible. For one thing, Brock Besser does nothing, floats around on the ice, sometimes gets more ice time than anyone. Canuck GM Patrick Allvin should be fired for signing Besser to a 7-year deal at $7 million. It's like a flipping novel. And he said, he goes, call me back if you want sometime. My name is Chris in Claresholm. Thank you. We enjoy your show here in Southern Alberta. Please don't allow the Vancouver Canucks or any team to get you as upset. I'm not calling you back, Chris, but we will talk about it here, and we just happen to have a Canucks fan on. So is he right?
Oh, he's 100% right. It's like he was watching our show and listened to Jake rant about it. How nobody's being held responsible for the complete disaster that is the Canucks is asinine. It's just baffling me. If you or I were running any business and we messed it up as bad as what this team, Rutherford Allvin, has done, heads would roll.
Oh, dude. Yeah. No, we're going down the road that I wanted to go down. Don't keep it on track, Kev. That's not what we do. I pride ourselves on going off-roading. But the thing is, Vancouver, it's not like they've historically not won. I mean, they went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, as we all know, 2011. But I kind of feel bad holding Jim Rutherford responsible and Patrick Allvin responsible for the sins of the past. Just like I said yesterday, Brad Treliving didn't ruin the Leafs or the Flames. He just didn't save them like he was hired to do. Glenn writes in, he's watching in Medicine Hat. He says, Tyler Myers worked his ass off with the Kelowna Rockets, a big guy who became a great skater, teaming up with Jamie Benn, his Rockets teammate. I was saying yesterday, Kev, that Tyler Myers is so old that, how old is he? Rod used to call his games in junior in Kelowna. He's 37. So where I'm sitting here with this trade deadline, Nick Dowd's 35. I looked it up. I'm like, what the? I'll be honest, it looks like a hell of a lot for the Golden Knights to give up for Nick Dowd from Huntsville, Alabama. Yeah. But they did. So anyways, as we get rolling here in the Quick Six Show topics, and we have a lot of things to get to here today, I'll say, number one, Kelly McCrimmon has never lost a trade that I know of. For all the hockey people that are watching right now, can you confirm or deny Rod's take? Kelly McCrimmon has never lost a trade, junior nor pro. So I'm not going to question the deal, okay? But it seems like an old man's market, Kev, which is good for two old men like you and me. Well, that's what I'm seeing.
You look what they got for Tyler Myers, who had a no move trade clause in his contract, so that makes it even that much harder to trade him. And we ended up getting a second and a fourth. Yes, we had to retain 50%, but it's $1.5 million. We talk about that like it's nothing, and we move on. you look at what's happened in Calgary with Uyghur. I mean, they got 3 second-round draft picks. 3. The guy's
and a
30,
player.
And a player. What is he, 32, 33? Player. Yes, he's got 5 years left in his contract, but I was shocked. I almost fell over. I'm like, wow, Calgary's rebuilding. They haven't said the word. Don't say the word because it's a bad swear word these days, the word rebuild. But
yeah, they just won't say it there. They just will not say it in Calgary for whatever
they
reason.
Are. They're giving away Uyghur for 3 picks. They're rebuilding.
Oh, well, we all know that. We all know that they're doing it. It just, we'll leave it for us to say it because they don't want to say it. It's interesting because I'm thinking about Chicago and them giving up Jason Dickinson and Colton Dock and Connor Murphy. I'm sitting there going, what does that say to Connor Bedard? Which we're breaking here right away, so we'll come back with the comments. Jason in Red Deer writes in. He says, I'd have to say you're right about McCrimmon never losing it. I know I'm right. I'm always right. Sometimes it just takes you people some time to figure it out. BW writes in, says, good morning from Grand Cache, Alberta, the home of Dean McCammond, or as he called it, Grand Smash, Alberta. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
Welcome back. The Rod Pedersen Show is proud to welcome Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel as the official travel partner of the RP Show and presenting sponsor of the warm-up. Whether it's team travel, sports getaways, business trips, or bucket list vacations, Neil and the team at Uniglobe Carefree Travel deliver expert planning, seamless service, and trusted experience every step of the way. Planning your next trip? Connect with Neil at uniglobecarefreetravel.com. Okay, not Scrubby, Kev. Just a dip into the text line, okay? David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in. He says, call a spade a spade. The Canucks are a tire fire. Oh, we all know that. That's not breaking news. And Gary writes in from Warman. He says, Rod, why are you no longer the voice of the Riders? Gary, can I say it's...
Sorry.
Here, you... Use this one on... Yeah, right. No, I'm good. Illness and fatigue is the reason, Gary, that I'm no longer the voice. Illness and... We were sick and tired of each other. That's the answer. Okay, so listen, I don't want to get mired down in the comments from the viewers just yet because Kev's time with us is limited. Last night in the NHL, point 2, Nikolai Ehlers scored a hat trick as the Carolina Hurricanes held off the Vancouver Canucks for a 6-4 victory. The result stretched Vancouver's losing skid to 7. Toronto Maple Leafs have lost again. They fell 4-3 in a shootout to the New Jersey Devils. For a fifth straight defeat coming out of the Olympic break, Toronto on track to miss the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Kevin Hughes with us from the Hughes Sports Podcast. Is this bad for the NHL that the Leafs are going to be out? We all know Vancouver's going to be out. Calgary's going to be out. Winnipeg's going to be out. Ottawa may very well be out. Is this bad for the NHL?
I don't know if it's bad for the NHL. It's bad for the Canadian teams in the NHL. Will I be watching a lot of the playoffs? Probably not. I might if Edmonton takes a deep run again. But bad for the NHL? Teams are going... Let's face it, 16 teams make the playoffs. 16 teams don't make the playoffs. Just happens the Canadian teams. Is there a conspiracy? Oh, we got to keep the Canadian teams out of the playoffs? Sure, we'll go with that. Or maybe it's the fact that more the better players are going to the U.S. because it's more money. Who knows? I mean, you could go on and down that rabbit hole, but right now the American teams are dominating, and I mean, that's just the way it is. It's a cycle. We'll come back one day, hopefully before I die.
Well, dude, whoa, you just went down a road that I never thought of. No, just okay, there were more Canadian teams in the playoffs. I think there was 5 last year, which I didn't think there would be 5. It was the most since 1993. But I never saw if the ratings were hugely up or down or what the revenue. I never heard. I just assumed that the ratings were always good. But you mentioned the players wanting to leave to go to the States, and that would affect the teams. You might not be wrong. Has that come up on the Hughes Sports Podcast? Have viewers mentioned that? That's the first I've ever really heard that.
Really? And we've talked about it on occasion. It's easier for I'm going to pick on the Florida Panthers or mention them, to have players go to Florida, no taxes, compared to coming to Canada, huge taxes. So yeah, it's a little easier for a team like Vegas, Florida, the bigger markets in the US to attract those players. But again, you have to go back to, and we went down this rabbit hole every time I seem to come on, is the owners. It's who are you going to play for? A Florida Panther owner who was tired of having an empty building and literally went in and said, what do I need to do to fill this building? I'm not the one to do it. Who do I need to get to fill it? And guess what? He has. That's a good owner.
Yeah. Well, listen, just because. Well, yeah. I mean, if that was the case, no Canadian teams would ever sign any players. So I'm not necessarily saying that you're right. It's just kind of looking this way. I'm not saying you're wrong either. I just have not really heard this before. Yeah.
There has to be a factor somewhere that, I mean, when's the last time a Canadian team won the Cup?
1993, of course. But, right. And that's why this is the misnomer that the Canadian fans don't know and don't want to hear, is that Gary Bettman is not anti-Canada. He's just not. I've mentioned this here many times. He was just in Calgary, which reminds me, Mark Stephen, the voice of the Stampeders, will be with us in hour 2, presented by Prairie Panels, our brand new guest presenting sponsor on the RP show. Gary was just there. So it's not like Kev's not saying he is against Canada. What you're saying is it's financially, the players don't want to go there. I'm not necessarily ready to throw in the towel on that yet. I think there's still a mystique of playing for the Leafs, playing for the Oilers, playing for any of those teams. Let's be honest with you. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, the margins between a playoff team and a non-playoff team are so thin right now. They are, but it's getting wider as we approach the trade deadline. It's not as close. So here's a question for you, Kev, which I should have told you this on the phone this morning. Bad me for not prepping you. The poll question for EMJ Marketing is, which conference will the Stanley Cup winner come from? Do you want to take a swing at that now, or do you want to think about it a little bit for EMJ?
I already voted, and I'm saying Western. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt the throat to actually say this, but I think the Oilers are going to actually cross the finish line, and McDavid's going to get his cup. They're due. It's a long time coming. They're nicely in the playoff position. I think they're in third in the division. I think it's time.
I'm also Kevin the Medium has consulted with the other world, and he is saying the Edmonton Oilers. Don't spit on your keyboard, Kev. That might be what it takes, by the way, is God, divine intervention for the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. I don't know. John in Edmonton writes in, and he says 1993 was the last year a Canadian team won, and Gary Bettman's first year as NHL commissioner. We're all aware, John, but thank you. Did you hear that the Beatles broke up? We're aware. That's a coincidence. Okay. Scott in Vancouver. Listen, this is not a conversation that I want to go down this road today. I'll read the comment, but he says some guys don't want to deal with the media and rabid fan bases in Canada. No, you're absolutely right, but that's not to say nobody does. And this is like so last week, but with what Austin Matthews put up with, and Connor McDavid for that matter, coming back from the Olympics. Who else? Brady Tkachuk, Connor Hellebuck. And I'm just sitting there going, you're driving them out of the country. Don't be mad at the players, okay? Because that's not something that any of the players have to put up with in the States. It is insanity, but I'm not ready to say that's why teams aren't winning the Stanley Cup just yet. And by the way, my vote for where the Stanley Cup winner is going to come from, what conference, will be the East. And I'm just taking the homer side because it's looking like the Panthers aren't going to make the playoffs. But I'll say the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, we're not on the air in Vegas yet. We will be next hour. I might change my pick by next, now that I think about it. But here, planning a lot of road trips over to what we call in Florida, the West Coast. It's a Florida thing. I'm on to all the lingo here, Kev, now. It's only taken me 5 years. To us, I'm moving to the West Coast. I'm like, really? California seems a lot of... No, Sarasota. No, that's the West Coast to Floridians. Or if you're going to the Keys, they don't say which key now. Key West, Key Largo. It's Largo. I'm going to West. Right? They don't even, they just drop the key. Going to Lauderdale. It's not Fort Lauderdale. We just know. Jason in Red Deer says the Oilers better shore up their defense and goaltending if they plan on winning, Kevin. Well, that's what they're doing. That's what these trades, by the way. Connor Murphy, right? Connor Murphy, Jason Dickinson, Colton Dock, which I'm a far bigger fan of his brother. But can I just ask you this as we're spitballing here? Kevin Hughes with us, Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast. What would you think if you're Connor Bedard, honestly? I know you haven't spent 2 seconds thinking about that, but you're a Vancouver kid just like him. That's the similarity between you. I'd be pretty dejected.
You know what? It was funny because when I heard the Chicago trade, I did actually go, what is that signal to Bedard? It's like, holy, how long before he can leave Chicago? That's the question. When is his contract? When is he allowed to leave? They can hold him hostage for how long?
So you thought the exact same thing. You thought the exact same thing. I'm like, they dealt Taylor Hall out of there. They've dealt out anybody out of there that he could play with. And when you're getting – and Andrew Mangiapane, God bless him, but he is a side dish. You see a certain amount of players just rotate teams every year. The Ryan Lombergs, the Nick Cousins, I see them down here. Like, they're not key guys. And so, yeah. By the way, I'm going to flip this over to football for a sec because we have a lot of topics to get to, not a lot of time. From the National Football League, the New England Patriots have informed wide receiver Stephon Diggs that he'll be released when the new league year begins next week. Diggs posted a goodbye on social media, thanking the Patriots for the season and saying, "We family forever." Diggs led the team with 85 receptions and 1,013 yards receiving with 4 tuds in his only season in New England, where they reached the Super Bowl. I want to ask you this, Kev. Between CFL, NFL, and for that matter, the hockey, are we ever going to accept that these are business decisions and not personal decisions? I feel like they used to be personal decisions. Look at that Gretzky trade. We were talking about it earlier. That was personal. That wasn't business. I don't care what anybody says. Now, we still think it's, they're cutting him. They're trading him. They must not like him in every league. And I don't think that's the case anymore.
It's not just business. It's big business. It's millions and millions of dollars. Jake and I went down this rabbit hole last night on our show. When you're talking about a team, you're talking about $100 million. That's an average team is going to spend somewhere between $80 to $100 million a year. It's business. Whether you win or lose is kind of secondary. It's, are we filling the seats? And can I recoup my $100 million? If I'm the owner, I'm making the best business decision. The actual on-ice, on-field is secondary, to be honest. It has to be a business decision, just like any other business.
Well, and that's the thing. Like with Diggs, it might be personal. I mean, the guy's always being accused of something. He's videoed on a boat last summer with popping ecstasy with some chick. Like maybe in this case it was personal. I don't know, but he's a great player.
That could be business as well, because part of the business is reputation. If you have some guy that you're highlighting and all of a sudden he's on social media doing coke off some girl's belly, that's probably not the best thing to do to sell tickets. It becomes a business decision for different reasons.
Yeah. Well, I don't like the off season, frankly, in any league, because I'd prefer to just talk about the games. And this morning I'm listening to NBC Sports Radio briefly with my guy Florio and Chris Sims, and it was the whole, will he or won't he sign here? Will he be cut? And Aaron Rodgers, we're tired of him. And I'm like, click, I'm going to flip it over to the NHL where they're playing the NHL channel and the trade deadline. Wayne in BC writes in, he says, Kevin makes a good point about the taxes the teams have to pay in Canada, or the players. I will say this, though, because I'm around the players all the time and have been my whole life in all the leagues, CFL also, NHL. I have never heard them sit around and talk about taxes. I've never heard them talk about the exchange. Not one time. I'm not saying they don't. We all sit with our accountant once a year. It's the most painful experience of my year. But other than that, I don't ever. People always talk about the UFL versus the CFL, or back in the day, CFL versus NFL and the exchange. The players do not talk like that. They don't.
No, it's only accountants, and they look at you and go, "You have a really expensive hobby that's called a podcast." And I went, "Yeah, that's me."
Right. Well, Kev, here's the spiritual guy. Kev, I was telling you, my accountant. He's probably watching right now. He watches all of them. Hope is not a plan. He says that every year. I'm like, it'll all work out. That's what my guides tell me. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly, we built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics, game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Oh, we got some great stuff happening today on the RP Show. Kevin the Medium's with me. It's going far too fast. The Junior Hockey Report, I'll do it now. For the Mad Greek Eatery, it's status quo for the Moose Jaw Warriors heading into the weekend. They remain 1 point behind Red Deer and 4 points behind the Pats in the race for the final two playoff spots in the East of the WHL. Warriors got some help from the Saskatoon Blades last night. They beat Red Deer 3-2. Warriors play in Saskatoon Friday. They host Lethbridge Saturday. Great chance for you to get down to the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. Yeah, and say hey to Johnny, the original Mad Greek at the Mad Greek Eatery. Are you craving the famous Greek ribs everyone is raving about? Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. Kev, what a day, my guy. Yeah, you're drooling. I see. You got to stop it at the Mad Greek next time you're there. An NHL scout is watching this show, is texted in, and I appreciate you watching, by the way, given the myriad million of shows out there, he's watching us. And he says, if you're a Canadian, and I won't name him, he says, if you're a Canadian NHL player that lives in Canada full time, you get paid in American money. Doesn't that mostly counteract the tax advantages that the no state tax teams get? Hold that thought. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he says, the whole business versus football thing, or hockey or soccer or whatever, is what irritates much of the fan base. They want trophies in the case, not money in the bank. Ding, ding, ding. Do you have thoughts on this? Makes a lot of sense.
It does. And it's funny because as I was saying about the whole tax thing, I'm like, but the 30% dollar sure adds back to your bank account when you're being paid American dollars. So does it balance? I don't know. And then somebody else brought up that whole, you can walk down the streets in Florida and nobody's going to bug you if you're an NHL player. You can't do that in Calgary, Vancouver, Winnipeg. It's just not a thing.
I'm going to tell you something. That might be changing, however. And it's amazing to me because I've been here 5 years now. Time flies, right? But everywhere I go, it's on sports radio. They're talking about it at the gym, the Panthers, and Sergei Bobrovsky. The sad thing is they don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea. But I'm like, at least you're talking about it. It's like me trying to talk about the Miami Heat, which I won't do. But at least they're talking about it. And they know who these guys are. And I feel like in Vegas, before long, Mitch Marner probably couldn't walk down the Vegas Strip without being recognized, or Jack Eichel or some of these guys. It is changing. But from the text line, and this is a wonderful segue, Kirk is watching on Game Plus TV. Just to the NHL scout, here's the one thing that I've realized. The money does take a lot of fun out of talking about sports. Carlos is right. I feel like if you have enough of it, you don't need to worry about it. And this scout, you probably know because you've been around the game a long time. Like way back in the 90s when the money got stupid, which is what the players call it now. Everybody, it's just stupid money. Agents were putting their clients, the players, on allowances. I know that because I was with those players. No, hey, they were still getting a lot of money as an allowance, but a hell of a lot of it was being deferred until post-career and all the rest. Like, it got stupid. And in the 80s, Kev, I don't know, well, you were following the NHL in the 80s. I don't know if you were into the money thing, but we were into it back then. And I remember Mike Modano, my favorite hockey player of all time, held out in 1988 for $200,000 a year. And the hockey people were like, Gretzky only makes $275, and you're holding out. Who do you think you are? Well,
can you imagine? Gretzky only made $275. You've got
these guys would cry now. They would cry.
Well, you got EP40 making $15 or $11 million a year. I mean, that's
Elias Pettersson, everybody. That's Vancouver slang for Elias Pettersson. But yeah, no, these guys would cry now if they made $275,000. Gretzky made it at the top of his game. And that was before it got stupid. Now it's just stupid. So I don't, they still, like Carlos says, they play to win and they worry about the taxes later. I firmly believe that. Okay, to the text line for Western Dodge, Kirk in Toronto's watching on Game Plus TV, and he says it's bad. I was saying, is it bad that all these Canadian teams are going to miss the playoffs? He says it's bad because it means it will probably be 34 years without a Stanley Cup coming to Canada, almost as long as Hamilton not winning a Grey Cup. Bro, that's why I say the wonderful segue for the people that are tired of the hockey talk. We're going to be doing all football tomorrow, just so you all know, unless Gretzky gets traded again, and that would usurp everything. But as far as football, I said when Kevin's here, that's his jam. He brings up the Ticats. What was going on in the world in 1999, the last time the Hamilton Tiger Cats won the Grey Cup? We all kind of forget. We talk about this vaunted Canadian Stanley Cup drought. That Ticats one is out of control.
Well, it's been, 27 years since they've even smelt it. I mean, I remember as a kid, we called Ivor Wynn Stadium I Never Win Stadium. It's just, I don't know can Mr. Bo Levi turn things around, and can they pull it out? Will he go off on his Trojan horse and win a cup? I'd like to see it, to be honest. I think it would be a cool story.
Well, number one, clearly God is not a Ticats fan. Let's just put that out there. Number two, I just looked it up. 1999 in Canada, Jean Chrétien was the prime minister. It was my first. The Ticats haven't won a Grey Cup since I got into the Canadian Football League full time. Put it on me. Put it on me. The premier.
Well, if we're going to put it on Bettman, we have to put it on you. Bettman, Pedersen.
I'm the reason. I will proudly say I'm the reason the Ticats have not won since 1999. That's when I came into the league on a full-time basis. Okay, the Premier of Saskatchewan was Roy Romano. You probably don't remember that. Where were you living in 1999, Kev?
In 1999, I was living in Kelowna.
For $100, who was the Premier of BC then?
Would it have been Vanderzam? No.
Glenn Clark. You
Clark.
Suck. Yeah, Glenn Clark.
I said it before you. I actually dated his daughter or his sister.
You dated everybody. You dated the entire province of BC.
Don't say that.
The Premier of Alberta was Ralph Klein. The Premier of Ontario was Mike Harris. That's the political thing. I could go on about this forever, and I did not expect to. Wayne Gretzky retired in 1999.
Oh, yeah.
In the music world, Celine Dion, Alanis Morissette, and Shania Twain all won major Grammy Awards. So there's that. The last hockey game was played at Maple Leaf Gardens. You want me to keep going?
You can. It's your show, buddy.
Well, I love doing this stuff, especially for the demographic of this show. I think everybody loves when we go down these rabbit holes. What was going on in 1999? Oh man, this is going by too fast. Hey, listen. While I look this up, the combine of the Canadian Football League. The first one goes tomorrow. Kev, are you going to be able to sleep tonight in anticipation?
I tell you, I'm so excited. It's the Invitational Combine. I tried to pronounce the stadium they're holding it in, and I couldn't. Or wherever the gym. Did you read that? I couldn't.
Yeah, I got it
word.
here. You're so obtuse. You're so obtuse. At Ferrodone Hamdullapur Fieldhouse in Waterloo, Ontario. Yeah.
There you go.
Try and get with it, Kev.
I know. It's amazing. I'm probably going to stay up and not sleep until Friday because, I mean, you got the NHL trade deadline and you've got a combine. I told people I'm planning to go to Edmonton to the combine. They looked at me, especially here, and they went, "We don't combine now."
I know, right? Movies from 1999: The Matrix, Fight Club, The Sixth Sense, Mystery Alaska, Any Given Sunday, one of my favorites, Big Daddy starring Adam Sandler. The last year the Hamilton Tiger Cats won the Grey Cup. Oh, man, what did they do to tick off the football gods? Well, Kev, this went by way too fast. I'm not sure we covered anything, but thanks for your role in it. We'll see you tomorrow.
I see dead people.
Yeah, The Sixth Sense. Oh, that show was freaky. I loved it so much. And Kevin speaks to dead people. We'll talk about that more tomorrow. That's why we get along so well. Sports update and viewer takeover coming up after this break here on Game Plus Television.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been quite a day, quite a show. We're brought to you in part at Hour 1 by Outlaw Communications and our good buddy Tony Plater. Hey, Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From strategic communications to leadership training and conversational content, we help your message connect and inspire. Check them out at tonyplater.com. That's Plater with a Y in there. The text line's open, 902-518-3033. And we'll continue with the fun and frivolity and hijinks and making fun of the Ticats in a second. But I might as well jump into the sports update because we have breaking news. The Toronto Maple Leafs have made a trade ahead of the NHL trade deadline. Toronto dealt center Nicholas Roy to the Colorado Avalanche today for a conditional first-round pick at the 2027 draft and a fifth-rounder this year. In the event the first-round selection falls inside the top 10, the Avalanche would instead send the Maple Leafs their unprotected first-rounder in 2028. The trade signals the first of a series of moves expected ahead of Friday's 3 p.m. cutoff by the Leafs, who have woefully underperformed this season and are a long shot to make the playoffs after 9 straight appearances. As for Roy, he had 5 goals and 15 assists for 20 points in 59 games with the Leafs after joining the club as part of a sign-and-trade deal with the Vegas Golden Knights in the offseason. Let me just pause this for a second. We're going to do this as well as we can as we're on live television here as these trades come in. It's a lot easier than at least the Olympics. That was brutal. The games were on. The events were on live in Italy. I didn't know what was live and what was. This I can handle. I got a pretty good idea what's going on here. Nicholas Roy, heard him called both, going from Toronto to Colorado as the Leafs have their fire sale. And oh my God, I know why our numbers are so high in Ontario. It's because we don't talk that much Leafs. Everybody else is. Plus it's negative. I'm so lucky. And thank God pretty much every day to be in Florida where the teams are good. So I don't got to follow the script of the media in the Vancouvers and the Torontos and, dare I say, Calgarys of the world where, hey, you better be positive. I'm positive you suck. Couldn't do it. The Ottawa Senators are in Calgary in NHL play tonight. It's the third contest of a crucial 5-game roadie for the Sens. who entered tonight's action 6 points out of a playoff spot. Calgary well out of playoff contention and traded defenseman Mackenzie Weegar to the Utah Mammoth Wednesday. The Winnipeg Jets can keep their slim playoff hopes alive tonight when they host the Tampa Bay Lightning. A win would put the Jets 7 points behind the idle Seattle Kraken for the final playoff spot in the West. Also tonight, the Leafs looking to end a 5-game losing streak as they visit the Rangers. Toronto Raptors on the road, taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. Raps bring a 35-26 record into the game, but only 4 of their wins have come against the league's top 10 teams. Oh, well, they must suck then. Oh, my God. Dylan Cease makes his second spring training appearance for Toronto as the Blue Jays face the Atlanta Braves in Northport, Florida today. The 30-year-old righty signed a $210 million 7-year contract with Toronto in the offseason. And that is your sports update for our friends at Ultimate Fan Zone in Moose Jaw. It's your Ultimate Fan Cave headquarters. From jerseys to trading cards, check them out in store or click on over to ultimatefanzone.ca. Where were we? Back to the fun and frivolity. Okay, you guys are more for NFL, CFL, NHL. That's what we do here. Why do we talk about all these things? I said it yesterday for the same reason a dog licks his privates, because we can, because we know all about it. When I bring up that, Jeff in Toronto, I'm missing out of a whole lot of discussion there in the YouTube chat. Jeff says, I wanted Mike Evans, but I'll take DJ Moore. Is Mike Evans off the board? Probably the biggest free agent receiver. Well, until Stephon Diggs joined the party, but I would still take Mike Evans. Did he sign some? No, he can't. Free agency hasn't opened yet. Scott in Vancouver writes, and he says, in Vancouver, the sports media is super negative when it comes to the Canucks. I'll bet you Sportsnet 650 isn't, because they carry the games. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes, and he says, does anyone find it curious the Maple Leafs continue to mess around with deals involving guys that cannot play in its top 6? Tony in Cochrane, Alberta writes, and he says, what a shark Connie is turning out to be. That Weegar trade was outstanding for the Flames. Go, Connie, go. Talking about Craig Conroy, the general manager of the Flames. Like I say, the Flames are on the right track, I believe. You have to believe that. I feel so sorry for their fan base, because this summer when I was there, emceeing Theron Fleury's golf tournament, there was the most positivity I'd seen around the Flames nation since 2004. I'm not joking. You Flames fans tell me whether I'm right or wrong, and just talking about 1999, and it ties. Why are we talking about 1999? Because the viewer in Toronto, Kirk, one of the viewers in Toronto, brought up the Ticats drought going back to 1999 for Grey Cup, similar to the Canadian Stanley Cup drought. And so I'm going, what was going on in Canada in 1999, the last time the Hamilton Tiger Cats won the Grey Cup? I was going through the movies that came out. Jeff in Toronto, thank you for accurately pointing out American Pie came out then. I got songs. How about songs? And this ties into today's news, which is kind of sad. 1999 was a massive year for pop, teen pop, and rock, dominated by hits like Britney Spears' Baby One More Time. Have you seen the tragic news today? Tragic is relative. Britney Spears picked up on a DUI charge in Los Angeles in the last 24 hours. I'm a big Britney fan. I hope that she comes out of it okay. Ricky Martin's Livin' La Vida Loca. Other major hits included Cher's Believe, Jennifer Lopez's If You Had My Love. The last year the Hamilton Tiger Cats won the Grey Cup in 1999. And Jean Chrétien was the Prime Minister of Canada. It was a good time. Carlos in Indianapolis writes that he says, Tom Brady was the quarterback at Michigan in 1999. Oh, it's funny because Speaking of these combines that are going on, the NFL just had theirs. CFL combine season is ramping up, and Tom Brady asked Elon Musk if he could buy Twitter so he could take down the photo of him in his underwear at the combine. And even Tom Brady, 7 Super Bowls, $37 million a year from Fox, still upset with something or embarrassed about something. It happened. Money isn't as big a deal as you think, right? And it's funny because Chris Sims on NBC Sports Radio was blasting Brady for not working out ahead of the combine or working out at all at that point of his life. I'm like, dude, it was 27 years ago. Let it go. Jeff in Toronto writes, it says 1999, Korn got the life. Yeah, I wasn't into that type of music back then. You get out of here with your bug music. 902-518-3033. This is a topic for another day, and holy smokes, have we got a lot of comments that come in on the text line. But I'm very interestingly watching Tom Brady's life unfold. There's this meme going around that I actually saw the interview when Tom said it. It's been turned into a meme. He goes, I won 7 Super Bowls. Nobody gives a shit. He's right. He was on the Jake Paul or Logan Paul podcast. I saw that, and they were talking about playing flag football. And Tom's right. It was like when I left that Voice of the Riders job, somebody wrote in about it earlier. It's been 7 years. And I look back, I'm like, it was 20 years with the voice basically of Canada's Dallas Cowboys. Nobody gave a shit. They didn't. 20 years with the Regina Pats, the world's oldest junior hockey team. Nobody cared. You kind of stand back and go, why did I work so hard? Why did I pour so much into that if nobody gives a what Tom Brady is going through now? And when Tom retired from playing, we saw him just twisting in a wind. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know where to go. Lived it. But we both settled in South Florida, both very happy. It doesn't last forever, or at least it doesn't have to. Larry in Medicine Hat writes in, I'm not sure that I said this, but maybe I did. He goes, you're right, Rod. I'm tired of the bantering back and forth about what quarterback is going to the Vikings. Oh, right. I was talking about Aaron Rodgers. That's why you all are here, because we're different than all the other shows, because all the other shows are talking about that. Just pick one, Aaron Rodgers. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes in regarding that Canadian Stanley Cup drought and the taxes on the teams and so forth. David, number 2, says, money. It's always about money in the end. These owners don't get rich by focusing on the personal effect of their decisions. The only personal concern is their bank account. We all know that. But there's still a thing about good ownership versus bad ownership. Ron in Calgary writes in, they all make money, but they don't all win. There's a difference. Ron in Calgary says, excellent trade by Conroy. We are doing exactly what you need to do to make this team successful. More to come. You'll enjoy the chat with Mark Steven coming up next hour, the voice of the Stampeders, but he can speak about a great many things, including the Flames and Gary Bettman's trip to Calgary this week. I'm very interested to ask him about that. So, yeah, it's going great today. Things have popped up that I did not expect, but that always happens. We just roll with the punches. One day ahead of the NHL trade deadline, Nicholas Roy. Is it Roy or Roy? Jason in Red Deer, can you sort that out for us, please? The former Golden Knight, Nick Roy, being traded today from the Leafs to the Avalanche. Nick Dowd going from Washington to Vegas. We'll continue it right after this break.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, today's show is akin to standing in the middle of the freeway directing traffic. Most days are like that. Today, even more so. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. It's hour 2 on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 33 U.S. states, and we're welcoming viewers across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. You'll notice I got my Golden Knights golf shirt on today. I've spiffed things up because the Florida Panthers are, I don't want them to be in the news, but I think they're going to be in the news. NHL trade deadline is coming up Friday at 3 p.m. And this the day before the flurry of trades are coming in like crazy while we've been on the air. And like I say, it really sucked for 2 weeks during the Olympics that we were on the air while the games were going on. That was very confusing for a simpleton like me. Here, I can handle the trades coming on the fly as we're on this. That's why a lot of you are here. We're breaking them down, the analysis as we go. Our guest in hour 2, brought to you by Prairie Panels. Check them out at prairiepanels.ca. Will be the voice of the Calgary Stampeders, Mark Steven, the Hall of Fame voice of the Calgary Stampeders and the longest-serving voice in the Canadian Football League, but he can cover the NHL very well, the NFL as well. He's a sports talk host too. Mark's going to be with us next. Okay, we're morphing this all in. The Quick 6 show topics here in the warm-up, as always, brought to you by Neil Chark of Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the RP Show and presenting sponsor of the warm-up. We have breaking news from the National Hockey League on a couple of fronts. Vegas Golden Knights general manager Kelly McCrimmon announcing today that the team has acquired forward Nick Dowd from the Washington Capitals in exchange for goaltender Jesper Vikman, a third-round pick in the 2027 NHL entry draft, and a second-round pick in the 2029 NHL entry draft. Now, that seems like a lot to give up, and we've got the live audience going today as well. So I said, but I'm not going to obviously criticize Kelly McCrimmon in anything that he does. I'm just saying it seems like a lot for a 35-year-old Stanley Cup winner in Nick Dowd. But Kelly McCrimmon, in my mind, in my memory, has never lost a trade. And Jason in Red Deer, who's a big Golden Knights fan, has written in and says, no, he might have lost a Logan Thompson trade. That one has yet to play out. We don't know yet. But from everything I hear, that's a case of addition by subtraction. So I'm giving him the win on that. And we'll see how this works with Nick Dowd. Now, moving on, the Maple Leafs have made a move ahead of Friday's deadline. We've sorted it out. Toronto dealt center Nicholas Roy to the Colorado Avalanche today for a conditional first-round pick of the 2027 draft, along with a fifth-rounder in June. I didn't know whether to say it Roy or Roy, because I've seen him play with the Golden Knights, but I always have the sound down on the television. Don't get mad at me. It's just as my friend Colin Patterson, the Flames alum, and I agreed one day, we were talking about this at Theo's golf tournament. I already know what's going on the ice. I don't need to be told, so I don't usually have the sound up. And I see these guys' names, but I don't really know how to pronounce them, but it's Roy. He had 5 goals and 15 assists for 20 points in 59 games with the Leafs after joining the club as part of a sign and trade deal with the Vegas Golden Knights in the offseason. And then from Wednesday, the Oilers dealt forward Andrew Mangiapane and a conditional first-round draft pick to the Blackhawks for center Jason Dickinson and forward Colton Dach. The Calgary Flames sent veteran defenseman Mackenzie Weegar to the Utah Mammoth for a package that includes 3 second-round picks and Tyler Myers going from Vancouver to Dallas. This is all really in the West, or at least West teams loading up. And that might actually be a good time to drop the poll question on you today for EMJ Marketing, Elite Keynote Speakers Bureau. Which conference will the Stanley Cup winner come from in the NHL? The Western Conference or the Eastern Conference? And probably not surprising, because I will always be a Western Canadian guy, and that's where the bulk of our viewership comes from. They're saying the West. 68% of our respondents on Twitter and YouTube saying it'll be from the West. That would certainly make the Golden Knights fans very happy. Water fans and any Colorado fans who are loading up. Somebody sent me a meme this morning of Elliot Friedman, my dear friend. We worked together at the Score 100 years ago. Saying that it's very likely that Sergei Bobrovsky will be traded out of Florida here. And that's why I got a Bob jersey here somewhere. I don't want that thing. I don't want it to be obsolete, but it might be. And again, I don't want it. You all are getting all the hockey talk. I don't want to over inundate you with it because there's a lot of things going on in sports right now. But it's in my commentary today. If you care to read it or listen to it at rodpedersen.com. All over South Florida, I can't believe they're talking about Sergei Bobrovsky and the Panthers. Sorry to say they don't really know what they're talking about, but at least they're talking about it. It would be like me trying to analyze a big NBA trade. I don't know anything about it, so I don't talk about it. But here, it's got people's interest. Will the icon, Sergei Bobrovsky, be traded ahead of the Friday's deadline? Elliot Friedman saying that we should expect that he will be. And we did go deep into that on our Cats and Bolts podcast yesterday. So if you care for my thoughts, you can catch it there. I see the viewers are having their own little party, and that's cool. That's what I want in the YouTube live section. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Oh, and there's questions already coming in for Mark Steven, who will join us next. Oh, hang on. There's conversations from last hour that are carrying over into this hour, and it's, again, confusing a simpleton like me. I don't even know why it came up, other than let me just say this. We had a discussion going, is it bad for the NHL that we're going to have the fewest teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs from Canada that we've had in years? Vancouver, out. Calgary, out. Winnipeg's going to be out. Toronto, out. Is that bad for the NHL? The drought goes back to 1993. And a viewer in Toronto, Kirk brought up, that's a bad drought, and almost as bad is the Canadian Football League drought of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Whoop. I am alive, Corey. We haven't had that happen before. I got to stop pounding the table. Oh, my God. Can you believe that happened? It is epic. The show where anything can happen at any time. And we still have 16 minutes left to go in this segment. Jason in Red Deer writes, and he says, camera down. Welcome to live television, folks. Oh, my God. Tell me about it. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, Rod, are you asking Mark CFL or NHL questions today? A little bit of both, but a lot about Gary Bettman's visit to Calgary. Mark in Melfort writes in and says, earthquake. No, South Florida is not under attack. I just pounded the table. My camera fell over. Yeah. Kevin, the medium, writes, then he says, holy crap, that made me howl. Well, I'm glad that somebody found it funny. I mean, if I had the time, I would reach down and put this back up. But here we go with the one-man show, the program where anything can happen at any time. Hang on. I'm holding the camera with my gazoo. Back on track from the NHL ice on Wednesday. Thomas Hertl, .2, scored a power play goal with 2:49 to go in overtime, and the Vegas Golden Knights rallied from a 2-goal third-period deficit to edge the Detroit Red Wings 4-3. Riley Smith and Ivan Barbashev had the other goals for Vegas, which wrapped up a 5-game road trip. Aiden Hill made 23 saves in the Golden Knights' third game in 4 nights. Vegas's second leading scorer, Mark Stone, missed the game due to an upper body injury. And what I have written down here in all caps, they play when they have to. And I'm talking about the Vegas Golden Knights. It has not been a good road trip for them, but they finished it on a high, coming back to win in Detroit. And maybe, I just mentioned what the poll question is today. It is, where will the Stanley Cup champion come from? Which conference, Western or Eastern? And again, 68% of you are saying the West. But another good question would be what I saw, I think it was NHL Media, put this poll out today. Where will Sergei Bobrovsky end up? And I know Jersey Jim's watching this show every day in Jersey. He might be watching it right now. He thinks he's going to end up in Vegas. Edmonton was an option. I can't remember the others. And that's not the poll question today. Where's Sergei Bobrovsky going to end up? But I'm going to say Vegas because it's all that they need. And with their trade today, acquiring Nick Dowd, you knew they were going to do something. And we still have a day to go. Our guest sponsor is brought to you by Prairie Panels. They're a Saskatchewan-based company specializing in high-quality construction panels and engineered building solutions, whether it's for agricultural building, shop construction, or commercial projects. Prairie Panels brings innovative, durable products backed by local expertise. Check out what they're all about at prairiepanels.ca. Point 3 of the Quick Six Show topics. The New England Patriots have informed wide receiver Stephon Diggs that he'll be released when the new league year begins next week. Diggs posted a goodbye on social media saying, quote, "We family forever." Diggs led the team with 85 receptions and 1,013 yards receiving with 4 touchdowns in his only season in New England, helping the Patriots reach the Super Bowl. That is the big question out there is, was Diggs let go for monetary reasons? Was Diggs let go because he's an historic troublemaker? Google him. We kicked this around an hour ago. Will we ever accept the fact that these are business decisions and not personal? It feels like in the case of Diggs that it's personal and not business, but you never know. I shouldn't speak out of turn. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Jason in Red Deer says, Rod talking on the mic while holding the camera, blowing the kazoo, and ringing the bell reminds me of the one-man band at the fair. How do you think it feels from this side? Just so you know. But the show must go on. I might switch hands, however. There we go. From the account Fan Since 1972 says Bob will end up in San Jose. Woo. That was one of the options. Edmonton, Vegas, San Jose. I would like to see Florida be an option, but it's not on the list. And again, for those that want to talk more about Sergei Bobrovsky's whereabouts and his history here in Florida, I would direct you to the Cats and Bolts podcast. We did it yesterday live on YouTube, and it lives there. Cats and Bolts, all one word. 902-518-3033. Oh, they're all excited about Mark Steven coming up next. He is the voice of the Calgary Stampeders, Hall of Fame Calgary broadcaster. And I want to ask him about Gary Bettman stopping in there. Was it yesterday or the day before, the commissioner of the NHL? Had a lot of interesting things to say. I haven't really delved into it. That's why we've got Mark coming on. Ron in Calgary says, we are getting the Four Nations and will be split between Calgary and Edmonton. Secret info for you. Well, then it's not so secret, is it? I guess I'll save these questions. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, says, how is the new arena in Calgary coming along? We'll save it all for when Mark Steven joins us after the break. Talking about that drought of the Canadian Football League, 1999 was the last time the Hamilton Tiger Cats won the Grey Cup. Why are we talking about that? The viewers were comparing it to the Canadian Stanley Cup drought of 1993. So I was saying what all was going on back in 1999. The movie Any Given Sunday came out. The Sixth Sense came out. Baby One More Time by Britney Spears came out. Jean Chrétien was the Prime Minister of Canada. You'll have to excuse me. I can't remember at this time who was the president. Oh, it was Bill Clinton. Never mind. That was easy. It's a long time ago. Bill in Brantford, Ontario writes in, and this should not surprise anybody. Bill says, Gretzky retired April 18th, 1999. There's a lot of things going on in 1999. The last year the Hamilton Tiger Cats won the Grey Cup. Yeah, sorry, the YouTube. Again, they're having their own chat in the YouTube, and I don't even want to wander into that. I'm glad that they can entertain themselves. David says, nice to see you dressed for the occasion. What, my Golden Knights golf shirt? I wanted to put up a Florida Panthers jersey today because, and this is a Barkov jersey, not a Bobrovsky jersey, but it might be the last day that we see Bob as a Florida Panther. Having said that, we will get to our NHL picks later. 3, 6, 8 games in the National Hockey League tonight, including the Florida Panthers at Columbus. Wouldn't that be something as Bobrovsky goes into his former barn? Is it going to be his last game as a Florida Panther tonight? Point 4 of the quick 6, the Toronto Raptors are on the road to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves in NBA play tonight. The Raps bring a 35-26 record into the game, but only 4 of their wins have come against the league's top teams. The Timberwolves have won 4 straight and sit 4th in the Western Conference. Also, World Baseball Classic. I'm not going to get into that until Canada and the U.S. play. And the U.S. doesn't play until Friday night. Canada doesn't play until Saturday. It did get underway with games in Australia today, I understand, but we'll hold off on that. We're going to limit this to Canada and USA results, okay? The program is brought to you in part by Vegas.com. Get $50 off your next ticket purchase with the promo code DAYLIGHT50.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
RP Show continues on Game Plus TV and Silver State Sports. By the way, your teams, the biggest stories. Join Mike Davis and Mariah Janos live at 2 p.m. daily here on Silver State Sports as they tackle the biggest stories in Vegas sports. Well, I'll tell you what, Mark Steven, the voice of the Calgary Stampeders, the viewers very excited to have you on today. I don't even have to ask you any questions. They all got a ton for you already. But the Calgary Stampeders, the Calgary Flames, Mark, active ahead of this deadline. Mackenzie Weegar going to Utah. Big package coming the other way. Clearly the Flames aren't done. How's it going over in Cowtown?
Well, I think it was disappointed to see Mackenzie Weegar go. He certainly was a very respected player. And, last year, I think he was pushing for a berth on the Olympic team. But I think maybe it's just time to keep retooling. This team is not going anywhere. I had them preseason with 79 points. I'm not sure they're even going to make that. Probably Nazem Kadri. He's near the end of his career. Maybe it's time for him to move on as well. But, I think there's an understanding this team has to, not continue to do what they've been doing, but to find a different path. And Mackenzie Weegar is part of it. Disappointing to see him go because, let's remember he was a first-pair defenseman, so but he's still a guy that I think has a lot of good hockey left. And from the Utah point of view, they're under the gun to do something there. This is a team that when they were in Arizona all those years said, well, we're building, we get all this draft capital. Well, here it is. They're spending some of it.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I know that it's a bit of a downer when it comes to Flames talk, but not as it stands with the arena. And Gary Bettman was there this week. The photos I saw, he was smiling. Everybody's got to be smiling with the thought of that new rink and the Flames playing in a brand new barn. What's the synopsis on the Bettman visit?
Well, Two things. He went into a building that is on time and it's on budget. Part of it is planning. We've also had a really remarkable winter here, so they can do a lot of stuff and get ahead on some of the stuff that they've been doing. Gary Bettman, yeah, he was well received. He had lavish praise for it. And I think the possibility of the World Cup or games coming to it in 2028 is coming up. And I would say soon after that, I think it's time for an all-star game here, or whatever the all-star weekend is going to look like in the future, because Calgary last hosted the game in 1985 when rookie Mario Lemieux tore it up. That's a long, long time ago now. So it's been well received. And, with him giving that endorsement, I think there's a great opportunity that Calgary will host some of those games.
Well, it was a brand new arena back then, and here we are 40 years
yes,
later.
It was.
Right, Mark
well,
Stephen
that's the issue,
us, voice. Yeah, this voice of the CFL's Calgary Stampeders. David in Winnipeg wanted to know how, and me too, how is the construction of the rink coming along? I was in Calgary this summer, but I never made it downtown. How's it looking?
Oh, just fine. It's really, it's kind of neat. You can start to see stuff coming out of the ground, and you can see, where things might go. And there's a lot of arches and beams that are up. So it looks like it's well on track. It's kind of neat to watch it come out of the ground like that. But no, it's right on schedule, and every reason to think it'll be open for September of 27, barring something completely unexpected. But it looks really nice, and it's just kind of cool. It's no longer theoretical. It's actually kind of there and coming out of the ground. So it's really exciting.
Well, I think the plan is for the Flames to have a team worthy of the arena when they move into it. And will be my last question for you is, are they on track to doing that? And do they have the right people in place to make it happen, Mark?
Well, I guess it depends how long you're prepared to wait. I know what they're doing. They're trying to accumulate draft capital and also get younger, because, there'll be a younger player that'll slide into Uyghur's spot on the roster, for more full-time duty, Briskevich. But I'd like to think they've got a path. I think they're trying to steer clear. I know they are, and I kind of agree with it with the Buffalo Sabres model. I mean, it's wonderful the Sabres are in a great playoff spot today, but they've had decades of nothing. And, even San Jose was really far down. They're not prepared to go down all that far, right down to tearing it to the studs. So I think they've got a good plan with younger players and picks, and hope they mature, and we'll see how it goes. But it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be quick.
We're going to talk about the arms race leading up to the trade deadline, but at the other end of the standings where the Flames reside, with Vancouver out, Winnipeg going to be out, the Leafs out, Ottawa might be out. Is that bad for the NHL, Mark? Do you think all those Canadian teams not making it?
I don't know how bad it is for the NHL. It's bad for the Canadian NHL side, but for the NHL as a whole, they don't really move the meter, those teams, most of them. And I don't think the NHL is particularly worried about it. But, it's a troubling sign for Canada that it seems almost certain we'll go another year, 33 years now without a Stanley Cup in Canada by a Canadian team. I mean, some teams have taken a shot. Edmonton, the Flames did a long time ago, and so did the Canucks. But no, it hasn't been a good year for the Canadian teams, and I don't know it's bad for the NHL, though I'm not prepared to say it's bad for the NHL, but they are losing revenue because those teams do produce a lot of revenue. I mean, I think I saw a survey last year that Edmonton is in like the top 5 for revenue, and it's far from a top 5 market. So yeah, there is some consideration, but I don't think the NHL is too worried. They just want the best cup.
Well, I mean, this is more just two friends spitballing than your analysis, although I value your analysis. But, somebody Kevin, the medium, brought up last hour. You've met Kevin. He said the taxes, the dollar is affecting the drought. And I'm like, can't really go along with that, especially with the Oilers going to the last Stanley Cup Finals. Do you?
Bingo. No, I find that as a fairly easy but inaccurate argument. Here's the deal. If we sat here 10 years ago today, how would we be talking about the Florida Panthers? Be saying, that team is terrible, nobody cares, move the thing to Quebec City, right? Now they're a model franchise and people want to play there. The income tax and sunshine was there 10 years ago. It isn't today. And, Edmonton went to the Cup Finals. Listen, congratulations. They played 13 games in the Stanley Cup Finals the last couple of years. And I know it's easy to say, well, they got this guy, they got that guy. Yes, they do. But those guys have re-signed there too. So let's not lose sight of that. And yes, we do pay taxes in Alberta. So I can assure you of that. And so I don't buy it. I think it's the competitiveness of the teams, to be very honest.
Oh, by the way, trust me, I got the CFL talk coming up here with you. Of course, I don't bring on the voice of the Stampeders, and I'm not. But it came up, what was going on in 1999, the last time the Hamilton Tiger Cats won the Grey Cup. I don't need to tell you, Ralph Klein was your premier. Number one at the box office was The Sixth Sense. We'll get into the CFL in a second. I'm just not quite done yet with the NHL. This arms race, as we sit here, the joys of live television, we see Nicholas Roy move by the Leafs to Colorado today. Nick Dowd going from Washington to Vegas, and we're airing in Nevada on Silver State Sports. You enjoy this arms race? Who do you think is going to be left standing in June?
Well, sure, I love it. It's great to be, just a fan or enthusiast of hockey to see what's going on. And as I sit here today, I don't see a clear-cut favorite for the Stanley Cup. I see some good teams, some very good teams. A lot of them. Dallas came through here. Colorado's a very good team. Good teams in the East. But I don't see a clear-cut favorite. So I think it's going to be pretty exciting going down the stretch here with the teams trying to jockey, because a lot of teams will think this is their year. And they may be right. But I don't see an absolute clear-cut favorite for the Cup right now.
No, our poll question today is, which conference will the Stanley Cup winner come from? And 68% are saying the West, but I think that's because our audience is very heavily Western skewed. But the one thing about the NHL, unlike the CFL and in some cases the NFL, maybe it's a hockey versus football thing, but teams that steamroll the regular season don't always go on to win the championship in the NHL. And that's what Colorado's been doing, but I wouldn't sit here today and say they're in any way a favorite or a top favorite to win.
I agree that, the President's Cup curse, I think they call it, right? Just ask the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, they were there last year. So yeah, it's a tough call. You want to get your best playoff seeding, but getting into the playoffs, you still got a lot of space to go, a lot of games to play. So I don't know what the best approach is, but gunning for number one has not been a path as the two aren't linked.
No. Okay. Well, okay. So to the Canadian Football League, because the viewers are dying to hear your thoughts on it. I know you're dying to talk about it. Let me start here. I feel Hamilton, I think, has won free agency in the CFL. A lot of people say Edmonton and Ottawa. There are those that say Calgary did, because you retained the top guys and you're very strong coming back. Are you in that camp?
Well, I think certainly Calgary came out stronger or better. They did make a priority to keep people in-house. It all started Clark Barnes and the fine Canadian receiver, and also Dedrick Mills was signed very, very early, and a bunch of other guys have stayed with the Stampeders. They haven't lost a free agent. In other words, a player wasn't stolen from them. Of the players they put on the market, some have retired, and nobody's been signed just yet. That may change, but it hasn't. And, let's not forget, they had sort of I'd put in quotes, bonus free agent signing with Reggie Begelton, because he didn't play much last year. A really talented all-Canadian, all-CFL receiver, but he played in the first game and a couple plays in the second, and that's it. But he'll be ready to go, presumably for the whole season. So I'd call him a bit of a bonus add to the lineup, because they played last year without him, essentially. So I think they did very well, and they retained the core that played very well. And they lost, but they did lose, but I understand. But they gave BC all they could handle, went down to the last play. So I don't know if they won it per se, but they came out very, very strong.
2024 Gord Barwell Award winner, Reggie Begelton, too, by the way. I want to slip that in there. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in. He says, Mr. Steven, any update on the McMahon Stadium fire damage?
Yeah, for those that aren't familiar, there was a little fire outside the stadium Sunday night. It was more of a storage storage area. It was actually not attached to the stadium. It was next to the stadium. I don't know the exact cause of it, although there's been a few homeless people there. I don't want to blame them, but it was bad. I mean, it's not nice to have a fire of any kind, but it was fairly quickly contained, and that's where it ends as far as I'm concerned. It's unfortunate, but the fire department was right on it.
Jason in Red Deer says the Stampeders season is going to come down to Vernon Adams Jr. playing well for the U.S. viewers. That's the quarterback of Calgary. Is that not the case for every team? That's what I always say. Every team is in that boat.
Yeah, I would say so, but I would say he was good, but there's more. He had a stretch in September where I don't think he was at his absolute best, but he picked it up and overall had a very good season. But I think there's room for more. I would agree. And yes, it will come down to him. He's a guy that they have built the team around, and by and large, he delivered. But I think there's room for more, and we'll see if they can pull it together in the playoffs, assuming they get there and play in their own Grey Cup. But yeah, certainly Vernon Adams will be under the gun, but so is every starting quarterback.
The viewers have some NHL questions that which we'll morph back to here in a second. But I want to ask you this. If you are like my old friend John Frenzy, he wanted every other team in the CFL to fold and die, and that's just him. Are you in that camp, or would you like to see Edmonton turn it around and fill that stadium again and be relevant again? I think we can all see they're coming, but they still missed the playoffs again. How are you on the state of the Elcamos?
Well, as long as the Stampeders finish 1 point ahead of them, that's as far as I'm concerned. They're the issue. Everybody wants to get off to a good start, but they absolutely need to get off to a quick start. I just did some digging because it crossed my mind that they always seem to be out of the playoffs, when August comes around, or at least scrambling for their lives. And I looked it up. The last 5 seasons, okay, and I acknowledge that predates Mark Killam. But the last 5 seasons, when you put their first 4 games together, they're 4-16. They're out of it. They're fighting it from day one. So if they can turn it around, good for them. But, I'd like to see them pick it up. They did play very well at times last year, and we'll see if that carries on.
I'm going to ask you just to tilt your camera to your left. Turn it to your left a little bit, Mark, if you don't mind.
Yeah, we had some issues here. But
ding, ding, ding. Oh, and then back a little to your right, and we are good. Okay. So to the Stanley Cup playoff race. No, you're good. From the account Fan Since 72, he writes in, or she writes in and says, the playoff format makes it bad. 2 of Minnesota, Dallas, and Colorado will be out by the end of round 2. Do you go along with that? I feel like there's a reason the NHL hasn't changed the format for 15 years. They don't seem to have an issue with it. Or how do you feel?
I do have an issue with it. I think that's exactly it. That those teams are going to be out of it. And, Minnesota, Dallas, since U.S. Thanksgiving, that's been a playoff matchup. That's not going to change. They've been locked in those positions for months on end. So, I do have a bit of a problem with it. I would like to see 1-8, 2-7, and then go from there and reseed. I get it that they want to have the divisional races matter, but I'm, as you say, those are 3 of the elite teams, and 2 of them are going to be gone in the early going. And, the fact that they have this format means that Minnesota and Dallas have been locked into a matchup for months on end.
Why do you think they haven't changed it then?
I just think they want the division races to mean something. Play more in division than they do out of division. And I guess they figure that works better to highlight the rivalries. I mean, when Minnesota and Dallas play, it'll be very exciting. They'll have played a lot of games over the last couple of years, and just see how they come together. But I'm not a big fan of it, I have to be honest with you. I'd like to see 1-7, but the NHL wants the division races to work, so that's what they're doing.
Well, as we get closer to the playoffs, that's the talk I hear the most in the press boxes. And I'm here in Sunrise in Tampa Bay, but they're talking about it here. They agree with you. They would like to see the format changed. And I'm just sitting here going, for some reason, they have not. John in Winnipeg says, do you have thoughts on the Winnipeg Jets? I think you brushed on it earlier, but can you recap those? It's just a disappointing story.
Oh, is it ever? If you want to pick disappointment of the year, it's the Winnipeg Jets. Going from a President's Cup winner, second round of the playoffs last year, to falling apart the way they have this year. And then when you see Connor Hellebuck winning the Cup like he did, or at least the Olympics like he did, you realize that there's a real problem there. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think they're really under the gun there. They've been there a long time back in Winnipeg, and it's time to make some moves. And, is it Kevin Cheveldayoff that has to be held accountable for what's going on? I don't know, but it's not a situation, I got to say. And I'm shocked with what happened with Winnipeg Jets, I have to be honest.
Well, that's the thing. It's tough to figure out as the season goes along. I know there will be a lot of navel gazing, I would hope, in Winnipeg, wondering why they've had 2 coaches walk away in Paul Maurice and Rick Bowness. that have gone on to success in other places. I will wonder if somebody is made to pay for this. We're going to have to break in a couple minutes, and we'll let you go, Mark. But John in Winnipeg wants to know your thoughts on the Riders repeating as Grey Cup champions in 2026. I know they are your top rival, but you got to love Corey Mace. How could you not? Were you happy for him, the head coach of Sask?
Oh, yeah. No, I think they're certainly right there with it. But like every championship team, they found out that success comes with a price, right? I mean, I think they'll badly miss A.J. Allen, if you want my opinion on that. And Robustelli had a fantastic game, the receiver, against the Stampeders, and now he's an Elk. So I certainly regard them as very much a threat to win the Grey Cup again. But it's going to be difficult because you lose players because of the circumstances surrounding. Everybody wants a chunk of the action if you win the Grey Cup.
Will you be at the Combine, Mark, the National Combine in Edmonton? I'm assuming you will.
I have every intention of being there unless something changes. But I look forward to that. It's a lot of fun to go there and speak to people that you deal with on a regular basis. But there's not the pressure of last week's game or anything like that staring you in the face. So that's what I like about it.
Oh, yeah, it's a heck of a lot of fun. You actually get to see guys out of their element, yet still in their element. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, by the way, that's why I have the Rough Riders third, as Marcus just said they were pillaged in free agency. All right, Mark, I appreciate this. Glad to see you back. Hope you had a good week off, and thanks for the time today, my friend. Enjoy the playoff for what they are. Calgary not involved, but thanks for the time today.
Yeah. And next week we'll have our camera and passwords all set up better, and away we go.
You're good. All that matters is the sound as far as I'm concerned. There's a couple of radio guys sitting here talking right now. The Hall of Fame voice of the Calgary Stampeders, the longest-serving voice of any team in the Canadian Football League, Mark Stephen, joining us from QR Calgary. We'll be back in a moment with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. You're enjoying the RP show here across Nevada on Silver State Sports, and as always, across Canada and 33 states on the Game Plus television network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right. What a day. What a day. It's been a lot of fun, though, hasn't it? Always is. Here on Silver State Sports and Game Plus TV. From the audience, Kirk writes in. He says, "Hey, Rod, I'm looking forward to the World Baseball Classic, and ESPN baseball broadcaster predicts Japan wins it all. One word for you on that. Shohei. And that's why." From the audience, Jeff, the Stampeders fan, says, "When Mark retires someday, maybe Rod will take over as the voice of the Stampeders. Hey, who knows, right? I'm open to anything." Here's your sports update for the Ultimate Fan Zone. The Chiefs traded all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Rams for 4 draft picks, including this year's first-rounder. And the Patriots are releasing wide receiver Stephon Diggs after 1 year in New England. Aaron Rodgers is taking his time deciding whether he'll play a 22nd season. What a shock. I will say this. I've been doing a very good job of staying off social media for the last couple of weeks, and my mood's improved considerably. But I did see the tweet from Patrick Mahomes. What did he say about McDuffie being traded? Damn. You don't like to see your good players go, which kind of goes back to the discussion earlier when I said, how does Connor Bedard feel about 3 roster players being moved out of Chicago to Edmonton? Picks and Andrew Mangiapane coming back. I know how he feels. What's he going to say? From the NBA, the Thunder fended off a late rally to beat the Knicks 103-100 in a potential finals preview. It may only be March, but the playoff atmosphere was palpable at MSG. Dylan Cease is making his second spring training appearance for Toronto as the Blue Jays face the Atlanta Braves in Northport, Florida. The 30-year-old righty signed a $210 million 7-year deal with Toronto in the offseason. He gave up 1 run and recorded 3 strikeouts over 1 2/3 innings in his spring training debut last week. Speaking of that World Baseball Classic, the U.S. hammered the Rockies 14-4 in their final World Baseball Classic tune-up behind 5 home runs, including a first-inning tank from Aaron Judge. Next up, the tournament opener for the USA against Brazil Saturday in Houston. The trial for the federal poker ring case involving Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and 29 other co-defendants has been set to begin on November 2nd. A dozen defendants are expected to receive plea deals, but it's unclear whether Billups or Jones will be among them. That's your sports update, proudly presented by our friends at Ultimate Fan Zone. From jerseys to trading cards, Ultimate Fan Zone is your fan cave headquarters. Visit them in store or click on over to ultimatefanzone.ca. One more segment coming up, as always, and it is the overtime segment. Last chance to get your questions and comments in, 902-518-3033. It's just a lot of action going on today, right? The text line for Western Dodge, are you looking to trade up? Western Dodge makes it easy with top dollar trade-ins and unbeatable deals. David number 2 writes in from Winnipeg. He says, camera malfunction seems to have spread. Well, mine was simple. I pounded the table and the camera fell off. I'm surprised that hasn't happened before. Mark Steven texted me after and apologized profusely for the camera issues. I said I was fine with it. But like I said, we're two radio guys over here. That's never changed. I'm like, as long as the sound's good, we're good. The TV people don't agree. Carlos in Indiana writes in, he says, that's quite the collection of draft picks for one cornerback. He's talking about the McDuffie trade with the Chiefs. Yeah, but what have I said on this show in the past? The GMs are always looking down the road, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps down the line. The coaches are always looking right here. And that's how the best teams operate. You can see why Patrick Mahomes would be upset about it. However, you don't want to lose all pro players. You don't. Again, 902-518-3033. We're going to break here right away. I'm going to carry my thoughts over after the break. Some very interesting things being said this morning by Bruce Boudreau on NHL radio as we approach Friday's deadline in the National Hockey League, the trade deadline. As we're airing in so many NHL markets, I feel like that's something we should talk about a little more when we come back for overtime. You're watching the RP Show across Nevada on Silver State Sports and across Canada and 33 states on Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices and that friendly moose jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this 2 hours of zaniness. Because in 9 minutes, we'll be back out into that crazy world. Just finishing up a conversation that producer Corey and I were having in the break. No, I don't have a problem with... I drive a Dodge and a Jeep. No, we're good. I drive a Dodge Avenger car. Oh, man. Been a long time since I drove a sedan until I bought that thing. Driving a Jeep is a job. It's a full-time job driving a Jeep. It looks cool as hell. Not practical. So I bought this sedan, and I almost fell asleep driving to a Panthers game in Sunrise. Whoa. This thing's smooth. So now, I'm a Dodge. I'm not anti-anything. Overtime is brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, as you see on the screen. 28th Street, Northeast, Calgary, where they have now specialized shooter training. Don't fall behind. I can tell you this, people that have specialized coaching in sports and in life are a cut above. They get above the competition. Don't fall behind. Stop in and see Randy and Michelle and get your kids signed up for specialized shooter training at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where they are big hockey fans. There is breaking news. I apologize to those that were mentioning it earlier. I didn't see it till now. The Buffalo Bills have agreed to acquire wide receiver DJ Moore from the Chicago Bears. Buffalo is sending Chicago a second-round pick in this year's draft in return for Moore and a fifth-round pick, sources say. DJ Moore is coming off making 50 catches for 682 yards and 6 tuds last season as the Bears made the playoffs in Ben Johnson's first year as a coach. And that's the thing with the Bruce Boudreau thing. I enjoy... it's all rolling together here. This is weird. Bruce Boudreau was saying this morning on NHL radio, the former coach of the Capitals and the Ducks and Canucks, he was like, I don't understand why the Blues would trade Colton Parayko. He was just on Team Canada at the Olympics. He's one of the best defensemen in the world. He's like, you just never know. But he's like, I'm just sitting here as a fan. And I'm like, hey, isn't that the way to be? Because I'm a little shocked here in South Florida. Again, it's in my commentary today. I've never thought I would see the day where my phone's blowing up with, don't say anything, but this is how Bob feels about this. And these are the teams that reached out. I'm like, I don't want to know this stuff. Knowing too much got me in a lot of trouble at my last job. I don't want to know too much. I just want to be a fan. I don't want to know. I don't want to see Bob get dealt, but when I said never thought I would see the day, everybody's talking about it in South Florida where Sergei Bobrovsky is going to end up, and they don't think he's going to stay here. Although it's out of the bag, and Jeff Rimmer dropped it here on Monday, the former voice of the Panthers. Bob doesn't want to leave. Newsflash, nobody wants to leave Florida. Greatest place I've been. Bob writes in Medicine Hat. Good morning, Rod from Medicine Hat. You guys have a great day. I enjoy your conversation. Go Habs, go. That's a team that really has done nothing yet. We still got a day before the NHL trade deadline, and all the moves have come from the West in terms of acquiring. Hey, thank you, Rich in Edmonton. Well, this is, that's another thing, by the way. Rich is saying St. Albert product, Colton Parayko, rejected the trade. That's the one thing Gabby was talking about. That's Bruce Boudreau's nickname. He's like, how do you give the player that much power? And how awkward is that going to be in the room and within that organization when Colton Parayko was given the opportunity to veto a trade? And he does. And I feel like saw the meme yesterday. Parayko going to Buffalo. I guess not. Just like the noob that tweeted in MLB free agency. It's a done deal. Bo Bichette to the Phillies. He signed with the Mets. See why I'm kind of staying off social media, and you got to just stick with the guys you trust, which is why this show is as popular, I think, as it is I may not always be right, but I ain't going to lie to you. John in Edmonton writes in. He says, Rod, what do the Florida Panthers fans think of them not making the playoffs this year? It's become a hockey market, as you've seen. As I say, my phone's blowing up with insider info on how everybody feels about the Bobrovsky situation. It's the power of the media that people don't understand, and I've been working in it now for 38 years. You can affect what people think, okay? So there's a movement within the media here, and I'm part of it, telling the fans, hey, Panthers were just in 3 Stanley Cups, won 2 of them. They're played out and they're tired. Whether you feel that way or not, that's the narrative. And I'm going along with it because I've seen all those games firsthand. So the fans are being told, hey, it's been a good run. This ain't our year. We'll be back next year. And the fans are believing it. The problem is now the rinks, you're going to see a lot of empty seats because there's a lot of things to do here. FAU basketball is on the cusp of March Madness. The Dolphins sell out every game. The Heat look like they're decent. So, yeah, it's not good for business. But the narrative is that the Panthers will be back. Yeah, Rich says it's surprising that Parayko would nix the deal. He says the Sabres are legit. You just never know what goes into these decisions. You know, who would have known that Sergei Bobrovsky didn't want to leave Florida unless you know him and know the culture here? He didn't want to leave. It's not up to the player. Not here. I guess it is in St. Louis. Bob not given the option to veto a deal. Carlos in Indiana says, looking forward to Football Friday. And thank you for that. There's your warning to everybody. While the whole world's going to go goo goo gaga about NHL trade deadline on Friday, we're going to be doing 95% football here with Kevin the Medium, Mike Davis, and we'll see who else wants to join us. But thank you for being part of this today. It's been entertaining, hasn't it? And that's really what we aim to do here every day. And we'll see you tomorrow on the Game Plus Television Network and the RP Show on Silver State Sports.
That